There's an investor pouring thousands into your account every 2 weeks, and you're completely ignoring them. They ask for nothing but your time, yet you treat them like a cash machine instead of the venture capitalist who's trying to build your fortune. I'm Simpson, and over the past decade, I've watched people accidentally build wealth while thinking they were just clocking in. The strategy is so straightforward it's almost offensive, yet most people completely miss it. They're sitting on a gold mine complaining they can't strike gold. Your employer isn't simply paying you wages, they're functioning as your personal private equity firm with you as the investment. They're offering terms that would make Silicon Valley founders jealous, but unlike those founders who scrutinize every clause, you're speed signing paperwork while planning your lunch order. Let's talk about the most blatant free money you're probably ignoring, the 401k match. Your company offers a dollar-for-dollar match on contributions up to 6% of your salary. That's an instant 100% return the moment your money arrives. Show me a hedge fund manager who can guarantee that. You can't, because they'd be prosecuted for fraud. Here's what frustrates me. Roughly 1/3 of employees with 401k access don't contribute enough for the full match. They're literally refusing a guaranteed 100% return because they think they can't afford it right now. That's like declining payment from a customer offering double your asking price because you're too focused on making money. If you're thinking, I can barely cover rent, how can I contribute 6%? I understand. We'll address that. But first, understand what you're actually doing when you skip the match. You're not just missing extra money, you're rejecting capital from an investor funding your exit strategy. Imagine launching a company. An investor approaches with an offer. For every dollar you invest in your business, I'll match it. No equity required, no board seat, just free capital. You'd sign immediately. That's exactly what a 401k match is, and you're ignoring the investor's calls. The health savings account might be America's greatest legal tax loophole, and almost nobody uses it correctly. Money enters pre-tax, grows tax-free, and withdraws tax-free for medical expenses. That's a triple tax advantage in one account. Most people treat their HSA like a checking account for Band-Aids and copays. They're using a sports car for a mailbox run. The real strategy? Max your HSA contributions, never touch the funds, pay medical expenses from other accounts, and let it compound for 30 years. Then, in retirement, you have tax-free money while others pay taxes on traditional accounts. You've built a tax shelter using company benefits. A surprising number of companies pay thousands annually for skill development, certifications, courses, even degree programs. This isn't charity, they're investing in human capital because skilled employees generate more value. But here's the key, those skills are portable. This is grant funding, and you're not even submitting the application. If your company offers $5,000 in annual education benefits and you don't use it, you've abandoned $5,000. Over 5 years, that's $25,000 in missed skill development. That's not a rounding error, that's a house down payment you never saved. The real insight is your salary isn't the end game. Your paycheck is seed funding for you incorporated. Every successful venture needs initial capital. Real estate investors need down payments. Index fund investors need principal to compound. Entrepreneurs need runway. Where does that capital originate? For most people, from their salary. Your 9 to 5 isn't the investment, it's the investor. When you reframe it this way, everything changes. You stop seeing your job as soul-crushing obligation and start seeing it as strategic partnership. They're funding your actual wealth-building activities. People who get ahead aren't those who quit jobs to chase passive income with zero runway. They're the ones who strategically leverage their employment. They maximize every benefit, extract every matching dollar, claim every reimbursement, then deploy that capital into wealth-generating assets. Most people do the opposite. They see salary as spending money. They ignore benefits because paperwork is boring. Then they wonder why they're not building wealth while working full-time. You're running a business that's refusing investment capital. Of course you're broke.
Most people treat their employer like an ATM instead of a venture capital firm. They extract the base salary and completely ignore everything else. They leave equity on the table. The average employer contribution to benefits is worth roughly 30% of your base salary. If you make $70,000, there's another $21,000 in various benefit packages. You make $80,000. Your company offers a 6% 401k match. That's $4,800 free annually. HSA with a $1,000 employer contribution, $3,500 education benefit nobody uses, $500 wellness reimbursement. That's $9,800 in available capital most people partially claim or completely ignore. Over a 30-year career, even without investment growth, that's nearly $300,000. With 7% compound growth, you're looking at close to $1 million in foregone wealth. $1 million because you didn't read the benefits portal. We've covered explicit benefits, the line items in your package, but there's a shadow portfolio most never consider. I call it strategic resource extraction, and it's completely legal. Your employer has infrastructure, software licenses, professional networks, training programs, institutional knowledge. Every resource can be leveraged to build your personal capital. Take software access. Any decent-sized company gives you access to tools costing thousands annually as an individual. Project management platforms, design tools, analytics software. Learn them, master them. You're not just improving at your current job, you're building portable skills that increase your market value everywhere. Professional networks matter. Your company probably sends people to conferences, industry events, training sessions. Attend them all. Not to be a good employee, but because you're building social capital. Every person you meet is a potential future client, partner, or employer. You're networking on company time with a company card. That's grant-funded business development. Let's discuss time arbitrage. This is beautiful. Most salary jobs have built-in inefficiency. Meetings that should be emails, bureaucratic processes, dead time between projects. The amateur watches Netflix during gaps. The professional builds. You can research investments, take online courses, plan your side business, develop skills. You're being paid to invest in yourself. I'm not advocating theft, I'm advocating optimization. If you complete your responsibilities in 35 hours, but you're paid for 40, those 5 hours are arbitrage opportunity. Deploy them strategically. The deepest level of this framework is understanding what salary purchases beyond money. Your job buys 3 things more valuable than people realize: credibility, stability, and optionality. Credibility first. When employed, especially at a recognizable company, you have institutional validation. Banks approve mortgages, landlords accept applications, credit cards offer higher limits. You can make large purchases and investments impossible as an unemployed person, even with identical cash. Employment is a signal that unlocks doors. Use it while you have it. Stability creates runway. With predictable income, you can take calculated risks with invested capital. You can buy rental properties with leverage because you prove income for mortgages. You can invest aggressively because you're not depending on those assets for immediate survival. You can start a side business because living expenses are covered. Optionality might be the most underrated benefit. Every year you stay employed and keep investing, you're buying choices. The choice to take a sabbatical, switch careers, go part-time, walk away from toxic situations because your investments cover expenses. Most think freedom comes from escaping the 9-to-5. That's backwards. Freedom comes from using the 9-to-5 to build enough assets that it becomes optional. When people say they want to quit and be free, they really want optionality without building the foundation. They want the exit before executing the strategy. That's not freedom, that's unemployment with better marketing. The smart play is different. Stay in the game, extract maximum value from every benefit, every match, every grant. Deploy salary into income-producing assets. Build skills on company time. Leverage company resources to increase market value. Do this while maintaining credibility and stability that makes aggressive wealth building possible. You're not working for them, they're working for you. They just don't know it yet. This isn't abstract theory. Let me show you execution. The difference between knowing and doing is the difference between theory and a seven-figure net worth. Year 1, you're making $65,000. You max the 401k match, fund the HSA, claim tuition reimbursement for a certification that increases your value. You're not spending the salary, you're spending what remains after funding every benefit. That first year, you might only bank $4,000 in actual savings beyond retirement accounts. It feels small, feels insignificant, but you've actually moved $15,000 into tax-advantaged accounts and skill development. You're building infrastructure. Year 3, you got promoted because you used that certification. Now you're at $80,000. You kept your lifestyle basically flat. Maybe you upgraded your phone, bought a better mattress because sleep matters, but you didn't move to the luxury apartment or finance the Tesla.
That discipline created a gap. You're saving $12,000 annually in taxable accounts on top of maxing retirement. You're not rich, but you're liquid. Liquidity is the raw material of opportunity. Here's the trap most fall into at this stage. They let extra income blend into their main checking account. Suddenly, they're eating out more, upgrading cars, buying things they don't need because they feel richer. Treat that raise like a separate entity. Transfer it immediately. Don't let it touch your checking. Don't let it mingle with grocery money. The second you allow fusion, it evaporates. You're not depriving yourself. You're protecting future you from present you's terrible spending habits. Automation is the difference between people who build wealth and people who just talk about it. Year 5. You've been watching the real estate market. A small condo hits the market during a downturn, undervalued because it needs cosmetic work. You've got $35,000 saved. You put 20% down, finance the rest at a low rate because your employment makes you creditworthy, and rent it out. Rent covers the mortgage plus $100. You just bought an asset using the credibility your job provided, and it's paying for itself. Your job didn't buy that property. Your job made buying that property possible. Year 7. The condo appreciated. You've been making extra payments with raises while keeping lifestyle in check. You've got $80,000 in equity. You take a home equity line of credit against it and buy a second property. Now you've got 2 rentals. Your W-2 income is still your stability, but your net worth is compounding independently. The salary is fuel. The assets are the engine. Want to speed this up? Stop being a loyal employee. Start acting like a business closing deals. Every employer switch is closing one investment round and opening another with better terms. You're negotiating a new valuation for You, Inc. People who stay at one company for 20 years out of loyalty leave millions on the table. When you switch, you reset the cap table. Signing bonus? That's a capital injection. Salary bump? That's more runway. By year 10, you haven't just saved money, you've actively traded up to investors offering better liquidity. Year 10. Your 401k has grown at 7% annually with consistent contributions and matching. It's sitting at over $200,000. Your HSA, maxed and untouched, is at $45,000. You've got 3 rental properties generating $1,800 monthly in positive cash flow after expenses. Your taxable brokerage has $120,000 in index funds. Total net worth just crossed $600,000. You're still working, maybe you switched for a raise and better benefits, but here's the thing. You're not dependent on the job anymore, you're leveraging it. This is when psychology flips. Most people at this stage feel trapped by lifestyle. You feel liberated by assets. If your boss is unreasonable, you can walk. If a better opportunity appears in a different city, you can take it because your rentals are managed and investments are portable. You're not chained to the paycheck, you're optimizing it. Now the objection. This sounds great, but I don't make $80,000. I'm at $45,000 and barely surviving. Fair. Let's run those numbers. $45,000 salary, after taxes, maybe $34,000 take home. If your company offers even a 3% 401k match, that's $1,350 free money annually with an HSA-eligible health plan. You can contribute the minimum for tax deduction, save $2,000 yearly in taxes through strategic benefit use.
That's $3,300 you didn't have before understanding the system.
It's not retirement next year, but it's the foundation. The game scales to your income level. The principles don't change. You're still extracting maximum benefit value. You're still controlling lifestyle inflation. You're still building liquidity. The timeline stretches, sure, but the math works at every income level because it's about percentages and discipline, not absolute numbers. Here's what nobody tells you. It gets easier, exponentially easier. The first $50,000 is a grind. The second $50,000 comes faster because your assets are working. The third $50,000 feels almost automatic because compounding does heavy lifting. By the time you hit $500,000 in net worth, your investments generate more annual growth than you're contributing. You've hit escape velocity. The job is still useful for benefits and credibility, but it's no longer the primary wealth driver. That's the end game. Not quitting your job in some dramatic walkout, not retiring at 35 to live in a van. The end game is reaching a point where your job serves you instead of you serving it. Employment becomes a strategic choice, not a survival requirement. You show up because benefits are valuable and work is interesting, not because you'll be homeless without the paycheck. Your employer thinks they own your time. Let them think that. Meanwhile, you're running a parallel operation where their salary funds your equity, their benefits build your safety net, and their credibility opens doors they'll never walk through. You're not their employee. You're an investor, extracting maximum return from a corporate partnership. The real scam isn't the jobs underpay you. The real scam is that most people never realize their job is the best investor they'll ever have, offering free capital, tax advantages, and institutional backing. And they walk away from it chasing freedom they haven't funded yet. Don't be most people. Extract everything. Build quietly. Leave when the math says you can, not when your feelings say you should. That's how you win.